Hold on tight, Britain, because what you're about to read will leave you speechless, enraged, and clamoring for answers. In an earth-shattering twist that has rocked the very foundations of the United Kingdom, Rachel Reeves, once hailed as the steely-eyed Chancellor of the Exchequer, has been catapulted into the eye of a political hurricane so ferocious it's being dubbed the most jaw-dropping scandal in modern British history. This isn't just a story of financial blunders or petty political squabbles. This is a tale of betrayal, incompetence, and a colossal £5.1 billion vanishing act that has left the nation teetering on the edge of economic collapse. Reeves hasn't just been sacked from her lofty perch as Chancellor, she's been stripped bare of her role as MP for Leeds West and Pudsey, cast out in disgrace as the Labour government scrambles to sweep this catastrophic mess under the rug. Even King Charles himself, yes, the monarch, has reportedly erupted in fury, slamming the government's reckless mismanagement with a wrath rarely seen from the throne. Before we dive headfirst into this spiraling vortex of chaos, let me hit you with something critical. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, now is the moment to smash that button. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single second of this unfolding disaster. Every twist, every revelation, every bombshell is coming your way, and subscribing is your ticket to staying ahead of the curve. We're peeling back the curtain on Westminster's darkest secrets, and you need to be part of this explosive journey. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, and brace yourself, because this scandal is about to blow your mind. How did it come to this? How did Rachel Reeves, once touted as Labour's golden girl, the supposed safe pair of hands to steer Britain through stormy economic waters, plummet from grace into a pit of infamy so deep it may never be climbed out of? The answer lies in a financial disaster so staggering, so incomprehensible, that it sent shockwaves ripping through the corridors of power. A mind-blowing £5.1 billion has vanished, poof, gone, from the UK's coffers, leaving the government red-faced and scrambling for excuses. This isn't a rounding error or a clerical mistake. This is a full-blown financial apocalypse that's exposed Labour's economic strategy as a house of cards collapsing under the weight of its own incompetence. The fallout? Reeves is out, booted from the Treasury in a move that insiders call unprecedented and desperate. Her sacking wasn't just a slap on the wrist, it was a public execution of her credibility, a signal to the nation that even Labour couldn't stomach the stench of her failures any longer. And it's not just Westminster reeling. King Charles, the stoic figurehead who spent decades steering clear of political mudslinging, has reportedly lost his royal cool. Sources from Buckingham Palace whisper that His Majesty was absolutely livid when the news broke, slamming his fist, figuratively, of course, and demanding to know how this black hole of epic proportions was allowed to fester under Reeves' watch. This isn't just a crisis, it's a monarch-level meltdown that's turned the UK into a global laughingstock. Let's break this down, because the sheer scale of this disaster demands it. Rachel Reeves' tenure as Chancellor was already wobbling under a barrage of accusations, whispers of mismanagement, murmurs of miscalculated budgets, but nothing could have prepared Britain for the bombshell that dropped. £5.1 billion missing, unaccounted for, evaporated into thin air. Economic analysts are scratching their heads, opposition leaders are frothing at the mouth, and the public? They're furious, betrayed, and demanding answers. Was this deliberate? Did Reeves cook the books to mask Labour's crumbling economic promises? Or was she simply so staggeringly incompetent that she let billions slip through her fingers like sand? Either way, the numbers don't lie, and they're screaming bloody murder. Just months ago, government surpluses hit a record £15.4 billion in January. A shining beacon of fiscal health, or so we were told. But now? A £5.1 billion shortfall has ripped that illusion to shreds, leaving experts gasping and taxpayers trembling. This isn't mismanagement, roared one leading economist, veins practically popping from his forehead. This is a full-scale financial scandal that'll haunt Britain for decades. And he's not wrong, the ripple effects are already tsunami-sized, threatening to drown the nation in a sea of austerity, layoffs, and slashed public services. The NHS? Gutted. Education? Decimated. Defense? On life support. All because Reeves couldn't keep her hands on the tiller. Now, let's talk about the king. King Charles III, the man who spent his reign perfecting the art of regal neutrality, has been thrust into the spotlight, and he's not happy. Palace insiders reveal he was beyond furious when briefed on the financial abyss Reeves had plunged the country into. He believes this level of incompetence is utterly unacceptable, one source hissed, painting a picture of a monarch pacing Buckingham Palace in disbelief. The king is deeply troubled by the state of the nation's finances. He sees it as a betrayal of the British people. This isn't just a rare royal eyebrow raise. It's a seismic shift. For Charles to wade into this mess signals just how dire things have gotten. His reportedly demanded explanations, his frustration boiling over at Labour's failure to uphold even the most basic fiscal responsibility. It's a king-size slap in the face to a government already on its knees, and it's got Westminster buzzing with speculation. Could this scandal crack the monarchy's carefully crafted impartiality wide open? One thing's for sure, Charles isn't staying silent, and that's a game changer. Labour is in absolute chaos. There's no sugarcoating it. Reeves' sacking wasn't a calculated chess move. It was a frantic attempt to stop the bleeding as the government hemorrhages credibility by the gallon. MPs are in panic mode, whispering in hushed tones about electoral annihilation. This is a catastrophe, one senior Labour official confessed, sweat beading on their brow. Reeves was supposed to be our rock, our economic saviour. Instead, she's torched our reputation and left us scrambling to survive. The numbers back up the nightmare. Trust in Labour's economic competence is evaporating faster than Reeves' career. With the economy teetering on a knife edge, her removal is being hailed as a last-ditch effort to restore some shred of stability. But here's the kicker. It's not enough. The damage is done, and the fallout is spiralling out of control. Opposition leaders are circling like vultures, ready to feast on Labour's corpse. This is economic malpractice, thundered a senior Conservative MP, practically spitting fire. Reeves should have never been trusted with the nation's purse strings. The devastation she's unleashed will take years to repair. Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride has been relentless, tearing into Reeves with a ferocity that's left her reputation in tatters. The numbers don't lie, this government's playing fast and loose with your money, he bellowed in a blistering Commons showdown. Reeves must answer for this before the economy crashes and burns. Stride's takedown was so savage, so forensic, that Reeves was left stammering, visibly shaken as her policies were shredded before a packed chamber. It was a political bloodbath, and she didn't stand a chance. So, where did the £5.1 billion go? That's the billion-dollar question gripping the nation. Economic wizards are stumped, poring over spreadsheets like detectives at a crime scene, while opposition parties scream for transparency. Was it siphoned off in some shadowy scheme to prop up Labour's failing agenda? Did Reeves bury it under a mountain of dodgy accounting? Or, and this is the terrifying part, did she just lose it through sheer, jaw-dropping negligence? The public deserves answers, but all they're getting is silence, and that silence is deafening. The stakes couldn't be higher. With the economy already wobbling, this gaping financial wound could tip Britain into a recession so brutal it'd make the 2008 crash look like a picnic. Treasury officials are sounding the alarm, warning of mass layoffs and devastating austerity unless the government plugs this hole, and fast. Public services are on the chopping block, with the NHS, schools, and military bracing for cuts that could leave them in ruins. We're staring down the barrel of a financial Armageddon, one insider grimly predicted. Reeves' recklessness has set us back decades. Speaking of austerity, brace yourselves, because it's coming, and it's going to hurt. Reeves' exit might have been swift, but the toxic legacy of her policies is a slow-burning poison seeping into every corner of British life. With that £5.1 billion black hole gaping wide, Labour's got no choice but to tighten the screws. Spending cuts. They're on the table. Tax hikes? Practically inevitable. The NHS, already gasping for air, could see budgets slashed to the bone. Education funding? Kiss it goodbye. Defence spending? Reduced to a skeleton crew. This isn't just belt tightening, it's a guillotine poised over the neck of Britain's future. And it gets worse. Energy bills are skyrocketing, up a staggering 6.4%, pushing the average household's annual cost to a crippling £1,849. Families are shivering in their homes, unable to afford heat, while Reeves' refusal to tackle the crisis head-on has left millions in despair. Council taxes are spiking too. 9 out of 10 local authorities have slapped on a minimum 4.99% hike, a move taxpayers are calling daylight robbery. Retailers are warning of price surges as national insurance contributions rise, and food inflation spiraling so fast that food banks are buckling under the strain. This is Reeves' Britain, a dystopian nightmare where the cost of living crushes the soul of a nation. Enter Mel Stride, the shadow chancellor who's turned Reeves' downfall into a one-man demolition derby. In a parliamentary showdown for the ages, Stride didn't just criticize, he annihilated. With a barrage of damning facts and razor-sharp wit, he exposed Reeves' economic incompetence so ruthlessly that Westminster insiders wondered if she'd even make it out alive. Inflation through the roof? Blame Reeves. Energy crisis? Reeves again. Tax hikes crushing families? You guessed it. Reeves' fingerprints are all over this mess. Stride's relentless assault left her floundering, speechless, and visibly broken as the Commons erupted around her. Her policies have driven Britain into a recession. Stride roared, his words echoing like thunder. Skyrocketing bills, stagnant wages, pensioners abandoned, this is Rachel Reeves' legacy. He didn't stop there, slamming her decision to axe winter fuel payments for the elderly, a move charities branded heartless and disastrous. Stride demanded she reverse it, but Reeves? She had nothing, no defense, no comeback, just the hollow stare of a politician watching her career implode in real time. The British people aren't just angry, they're incandescent. Reeves' public appearances have turned into circuses of rage, with pensioners and struggling families confronting her over the wreckage she's left behind. In one humiliating clash, she tried to claim her policies were helping the working class, a lie Stride debunked in seconds, laying bare Labour's tax and spend sham. Household budgets are at breaking point, inflation's out of control, and mortgage costs are soaring. She's driven us to desperation, cried one mother, tears streaming as she begged for relief. This isn't politics, it's a betrayal of trust on a scale rarely seen. As the dust settles on Reeves' catastrophic reign, the UK faces a future shrouded in uncertainty. The Office for Budget Responsibility's next forecast looms in March, and analysts fear it'll paint an even bleaker picture. Labour's scrambling, but with local elections in May and voters in Scotland and Wales turning away in droves, the party's staring at a bloodbath. Reform UK's Nigel Farage is licking his chops, warning that Reeves' net zero obsession could jack up energy prices even higher. And if inflation keeps climbing, public fury could ignite a political earthquake Labour won't survive. Rachel Reeves' name is now synonymous with failure, a cautionary tale of economic recklessness that'll echo through history. Her sacking was a start, but the damage? It's colossal, irreparable, and, some say, unforgivable. Britain stands at a crossroads. Can Labour claw back control, or is this the beginning of a crisis that'll define the Starmer era? One thing's certain, Reeves is gone, but the wreckage she's left behind is here to stay.